Hello angel babies, welcome or welcome back. My name is Trisha and this is Trisha's Temple. Thanks for being here. The good girl is gone. If you grew up people pleasing, being the good girl, being the person that everybody could count on, and taking up as little space as possible, then this reading is for you. Whether you're a girl or identify otherwise, I think that this will still be applicable. The good girl plays a very specific role in your journey, and this reading is to identify what that role is and see how this transition is serving you and who you are becoming now. What that energy, the good girl energy, is shifting into. The card that just came out is the Devil. It feels very appropriate. The vampirism of the devil forces you to give in to your darkest impulses, binding you to his will. Sex, obsession, addiction, enslavement, all the things that make life worth living. The good girl, especially if you were raised with some form of religion or just like in a high control environment, which I think if you are raised in a lot of different cultures, there is this feeling that you have to fit into a certain mold to belong. That to be who you are is to lose safety and belonging and to lose your tribe. And the person that you were as the good girl wasn't a betrayal of yourself, it was a protection of yourself. It was a way for you to stay safe and to find a sense of community and belonging, even if it was pushing down parts of you that eventually and now have the opportunity to come forward and to find belonging within yourself. This Devil card feels like a shift from the old way of seeing that your body, your sensuality, your desire for pleasure, your just humanity was inherently bad, wrong, dangerous in some way. I think that there is a lot in cultures that says that you need control in order to stay safe. We see that with different forms of parenting. We see that in religion. We see that in society at large. Like, oh, we need all of these big long lists of rules to stay safe. And you're shifting away from such a rigid set of rules for yourself towards more love, more compassion, more fluidity and sensuality, more embodiment, actually being in your body. What other purposes did this good girl version of you serve? Why was she here to begin with? Because yes, she was protecting you. But is there something more? Is there a reason why now? Why the shift is happening now from good girl to whoever it is that you're becoming now? Maybe you like the label of witch or mystic or just whoever it is that you are. No label at all. Okay. We have the Knight of Cups. And we have the Ace of Swords. This energy feels like you have known that this version of you that's coming to the surface has existed for a while. It's not like, oh wow, I've never known about you and I don't like, I'm completely shocked by this. There have been glimpses of this version of you that have shown up in little moments throughout your entire life. When you were a child and maybe you like to make potions with the contents of your refrigerator, or you were like super into angsty music, or you were just like the way that you chose to dress when you were going off to college, you know, like little things that were these indicators of your rebellion against the conformity that was being pushed on you. But it still was not this complete connection. It was still almost like a band-aid or a symptom rather than getting to the root cause. And this version of you, it still mattered. It still mattered. It was still a powerful act of rebellion, but you were digging your way to the surface, or clawing your way to the surface, not digging. And this moment that you're experiencing now is a rebirth, is a chapter where you are combining those moments of rebellion from your past, and some moments probably didn't even feel that rebellious or were still maybe suitable or acceptable within the constraints that you were in. Like maybe there were certain TV shows or movies or books that you enjoyed. Maybe there were things that you would write in your journal, or conversations that you would have with people. And you found little spaces where that fire, that passion, the full expression of who you are was starting to emerge, but still not entirely able to exist within wherever it was that you were expected to live, expected to be most of the time, whether it was school or your workspaces. And perhaps it's not so much that now, oh, you can be completely, fully yourself in every single moment, but the disconnect between who you are in those spaces and who you are when you are like with your friends or by yourself, it doesn't feel like you're pretending so much anymore as an intentional choice. For example, if there are certain spaces like work, for instance, and you go into work and you realize, okay, there are certain things that I can't talk about here, or certain ways that I wouldn't dress in this space. But that doesn't mean that I'm not still me. I'm just expressing myself a little bit differently. This is work self, and I still have that version of me that is able to live very freely in many other parts of my life. And you still have moments where that rebellion, that like, and maybe rebellion's not even the right word, but where that act of or just standing up for yourself, setting boundaries, holding that space where you are able to exist, even in those spaces like work or school or spending time with family if those relationships are not ideal. Okay, let's look at how you were doing that. How you are able to still show up as yourself in environments where the people, the circumstances are not as aligned with you as perhaps when you're just by yourself or with your closest friends. Hang on. The allergies are wild over here. Okay, how are you showing up? Allowing yourself to expand rather than shrink. Rather than people please, conform just to keep the peace. What does that look like? Maybe it's not a complete, like, oh, now I'm just saying whatever comes to my mind every single time I enter a new space. Now I'm thinking of a book that I read recently, and the girl in the book was a massive people pleaser, and her love interest was telling her, even if you don't say it out loud, even if you don't say what you're thinking, at least let yourself think it. Think the angry thought. Think the thing that you would want to say. So maybe you're starting there with just allowing yourself to think it, to feel the anger and the frustration, even if you don't act on it or do anything in the moment. Okay, we got the Eight of Cups. Yeah, I think that there might actually be more walking away. There might be more closing doors from relationships, from situations, conversations where your energy is not respected. And sometimes that is just like, maybe you're not actually leaving the room. Maybe you are pulling back your energy, but it's not so much that it's not in the same way that it was before. It's not in a, I'm making myself smaller. It's more so in a, I'm not going to invest my energy in this. It's not worth it. I would rather use that energy for something else. And you're being more deliberate about how you spend your energy. So maybe there are some moments when you do get into it with someone. You stand your ground. You get into a debate or whatever it might be. But I think that there are also a lot of moments where you're like, you know what? Having this conversation with you isn't actually going to yield the results that I would love it to. So I'm gonna go outside and ride my scooter, whatever. I'm gonna go do something that I actually enjoy doing. And use this anger, use this frustration for my benefit. I think there's almost this energy of it's not so much resignation, but like just letting people be in their own story and you be in yours. let's get a little bit more about this. We have the Knight of Wands. Passion, adventure, impulse, inspired action. Okay. Yeah, so together, this feels like you're being a bit more intentional about where you're investing your energy, where you are casting your spell, that you have more appreciation for your creative gifts. You're like, yeah, I know I'm cool, and that for me to go head to head with this person about this will not be as cost effective as me using that for something that allows me to build my dreams. That is attached to my passion, is a passion attached to adventure. It's reminding me of this thing that I've been learning about recently called the Sophia stage. That the general idea is that everybody is living their own life, and they have certain things that they need to learn at different stages of their journey. And some people are just never going to learn certain lessons, and it's not our responsibility to teach them those lessons. Yeah, I'm like imagining you like pulling back all of your energy from any places where you feel stressed or worried about another person's ability to figure it out for themselves. Like, oh, that person is struggling with this or struggling with that. And that's not to say that you're not going to care about other people or that you won't set boundaries for yourself. It's the opposite. It's like now you will have the energy to hold your ground and to invest in the people, places, and things that feel the most exciting to you. Yeah. Like they're calling to you. Ah. I went up the canyon the other day and there was a girl like singing that, and then I sang it back to her. It was very cute. All right, I'm looking at these questions. How are you expanding your energy from the good girl, people pleaser? How are you starting to take up more space in your world, in your life? I'll do some of these oracle. A broom on her own. Cute. 41. what's the TV show? No, never mind. A broom on her own. Brooms can represent like cleansing your energy and clearing space. They can also be about like your power, holding on to your power. I think that you are doing both of those things, that you are clearing away the debris in maybe your literal physical space, like decluttering, getting rid of clothes, dishes, just anything in your space that you're like, you know what, I don't use this and it's just weighing me down energetically. And then allowing yourself to fill your space with things that actually inspire you, whether that is a new stuffed animal or a soft blanket, new clothes, new supplies for whatever creative passion you're into, new something, like I'm thinking like a new window or like something to improve your physical space, painting, something like that. And that this process that you're going through is energizing you and shifting up the energy of your space so that you can reconnect to the spice of life. I want to read what this one says. I don't know why. Is there like some show that's like a medical drama or something? I don't think it's 41, but I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. Do not be so hard on yourself, little witch. You cannot be perfect, nor can your magic. While it will always work, it may not always work in the ways you wish. If no harm is intended, no harm will be done. And if there is any leftover energy from any spell work cast in this or any other lifetime that you do not wish to linger, you can use this new broom to sweep it away. While you are clearing with your broom, sweep away feelings about yourself that do not help and are not true. It is not your fault that there is sadness in the world, that others suffer, and that you have suffered too. It is not your fault that magic does not always work, that friends are not always true, that love can sometimes hurt, that physicality can come with its own tender frailties. All of this, all of who you are and what you do, is what it is to be born in this human life. And there is always change, the ever-cycling wheel, bringing new opportunities to shift and cleanse your energy, to adjust and reset your path. Now, know, dear witch, that there are always ways to make things fresh and new again. There is no lesson unlearned, no truth swept under the rug. All is but energy, and yours can now be cleansed and cleared, refreshed in this time of renewal. Meaning, time to clear space. If life has gone awry, refresh your home's energy, the cleansing of personal energy, going easy on yourself, knowing that not everything is your responsibility, playing your part as others do, allowing their fate and destiny to intertwine with yours. New broom sweeping all clean, fresh starts in life, being very close to one filled with blessings. Reversed, stagnating energy that needs to be removed on but reluctance to do so. Feeling that change cannot be created, but you must simply accept what is. Saying go with the flow when there is no flow. Denying a need to take action to create a shift through your participation. Self-persecution from taking on too much responsibility for sadness in your life. A focus only on the personal, not seeing the bigger picture. Okay. I think that the good girl energy can get really bogged down in taking responsibility for things that are not yours. For feeling like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, feeling a lot of that sadness and grief of the world and the atmosphere of any physical space, it's partly just a human thing. But especially if you are a sensitive person and you were raised to believe that you needed to be overly responsible, then that's just going to be amplified. I think that this good girl to witch, or just stepping into your power in general, is allowing you to separate out what is yours and what is not, to have this lifting, weight lifted off of your shoulders in lots of little ways, like I was saying, with just even being able to clear out the debris, the old clothing, or clutter in your physical space, but as within, so without. So whatever is happening internally will manifest externally. It's like those people who are hoarders, who have a lot of stuff in their home physically. A lot of times it's because they actually have so much internally that is weighing them down, that they are afraid, they're overwhelmed, they have a lot of trauma. And the reason that they're not able to get rid of those things is because of all of the stuff that's going on with them internally. And so the more signs that you see of yourself being able to take care of yourself and your space and have that like little lifting, it impacts you internally, and vice versa. The more that you are caring for yourself internally, it's going to impact your external environment. Because now I'm thinking specifically of different areas of the home. For example, that like a closet or an attic can be more of the deeply rooted or more hidden aspects, more subconscious things. Versus a bathroom is the emotional world. Every part of the house has a spiritual significance, if you want it to. Was she once a Selkie? I've pulled this card before. think one big thing is that there may have been a time when you did spend a lot of time inside, and there may be kind of this feeling like, I don't want to be in here anymore. Whether that means that you're just starting to spend more time outside, or you're actually moving, or you're just going to do something to switch up the atmosphere of your home, rearrange your space. This card really feels like reconnecting with the wild part of yourself and tuning into your own power. That there was a time in your life when you may have felt that call and didn't know how to answer it, didn't know where to go, what to do, how to make a change in your life that would be able to honor that. And I think that there are shifts happening for you. Whether that be that you are reconnecting with something from your past that you've always loved and are passionate about. Oh, the wind is getting crazy. Or that you are finding something new that maybe intrigued you for a long time and you had never taken the time to like fully get into. I mean, tarot was one of those things for me that I would always drive past tarot places or see it, and I was like, like that's interesting. I wonder what that's about. But there was always a bit of a taboo around it for me in my life, that tarot was dangerous, tarot was for witches, tarot was just not for me, wasn't allowed in some way. And then eventually it reached a point where I allowed myself to dive into it. And now it's obviously a big passion of mine. So maybe there's something that's happening like that for you, where maybe you are returning to something that you used to love. Maybe you really loved running, but you stopped doing it for some reason or another. Maybe you really loved some form of art or a particular place that you would always go. And that's helping you to take up more space, to reclaim more of your power, because it is another piece of who you are. Okay. The last question that I have is, what does this good girl energy have to say to you as it is taking on new form, as it's leaving and shifting? Actually, I want to get some of these. Final message from your good girl persona as she makes her way out. The High Priestess. You have a lot of internal wisdom, and you always have. You have been connected to your intuition for your entire life. It never went away. It was always there. There may have been moments when it was a little bit quieter, or you weren't as intentional about connecting with its language. There may have been times when you were using different sources. Like, I'm thinking right now, like if you were in some sort of religion and were trying to connect to it through the ways that other people told you, through reading scripture or a specific type of prayer, or through singing songs that didn't really resonate with you, or through certain rituals and ceremonies. Maybe you were trying to connect to your intuition and you didn't even know that you were. If you were never a religious person, it could have been through, going on a bike ride and just allowing your mind to kind of wander. And now you're starting to weave this, or like draw a line. Notice all of the moments when that voice inside of you was speaking to you and saying, hey, this feels good, or this feels off, something here isn't quite right. This is for me, or this is not. I want more of that. Yes, please, more. Or no, please get me out of here. And you're listening more. You are respecting that more. The good girl, she may have kept you in places where your intuition said, let's get out of here, let's leave. It may have felt like this kind of fawning, or where your body and your mind and your heart were all a little bit out of connection with each other. They were at odds, but they were all communicating with you. And I think especially when you would leave the situation that was distressing in some way, when the mask would fall off, when you were at home alone, or when you were riding your bike or driving in your car or reading a book that brought you comfort, little by little you were starting to realize the things that brought you more peace. She is the good girl isn't going to be completely gone. She's just taking on this new role of being the witch, of not being so concerned about the expectations that other people have of her. She's stepping into her emotional fulfillment. She may be grieving things that she could have had if she had been nurtured and allowed to be herself the whole time. Doing a little bit of reflection on who she's been, how she's had to show up, the suppression and the protection efforts. This King of Wands really feels like she is learning to protect herself in a new way. She's realizing that her power, her creativity, her passion for life, and her sensuality is really what protects her. She doesn't have to protect herself by making herself small. She can protect herself by standing in her power. That doesn't mean she has to get angry and mean and hurt other people. She can just be herself, be authentic, be full of love and passion. Sometimes she might be angry. Sometimes she might set a firm boundary with someone. But that is what will protect her, not the alternative of making herself small. She's realizing that moving the energy through her from a place of connection to herself rather than forcing it to stay inside of her is how she is healing her connection to her body and to the earth and to other people. She's honoring the whole process, the whole grieving cycle, not forcing it to go any faster. That these things, these emotional, like this dream, fulfillment, love, light, happiness version of reality exists alongside her grief and her fear and overwhelm. Her passion. Yeah. She's allowed to be all of those things. At once. Thank you so much for being here. I love doing these readings. Love you.